Tonight, just hit the donate button. Every dollar that you donate will go right back into more games right here on IndianaSRN, which means more games for you. It's IndianaSRN, where you always have a front row seat.
Hey, Indiana, let's clear the air about vaping. Glue, rat poison, paint. We all know these products contain poisons like formaldehyde, arsenic, and lead. And these are just a few of the chemicals you'll find in e-cigarette vapor. Let's clear the air, Indiana. Don't puff this stuff. Visit don'tpuffthisstuff.com to join the fight and spread the word.
We encourage you to follow us on Twitter at IndianaSRN. Find upcoming games, video highlights, and much more. Follow us now at IndianaSRN.
Welcome back to Hamilton Southeastern as we're gearing up for Game 2 of our two semifinals here tonight. And our second contest will feature Culver Academies, who comes in at 12-1. They've won 10 straight. And they'll be taking on Carmel, the Greyhounds, at 12-4 on the season. They've won 3 out of their last 5. Tonight's second contest brought to you in part by Reynolds Farm Equipment. Reynolds is your local hometown John Deere dealer. Open since 1955. We have 5 locations in central Indiana to meet your equipment, parts, and service needs. Boilermaker Local 374, a union representing skilled workers in Indiana. Get the Boilermaker advantage. Burtner Electric, spark with confidence. They're your trusted electrician partners since 1986. Wheeler Mission, helping our neighbors in need since 1893. We've been here to help, thanks to the caring individuals in our community. Aspen Creek Grill, the largest selection of food made from scratch and fairly priced. They have 2 great locations, Noblesville and Greenwood. The Morales Group, their mission is to build better futures, one story at a time. LifeWise Academy. LifeWise Academy's mission is to positively impact students, schools, and communities. You can contact them at lifewise.org. Officially Human. Their mission is to restore respect to game officials and recognize them as authorities on the field and the court. Ref Reps. At Ref Reps, their mission is to help the world see the game through the eyes of the officials. And the IndianaSRN Sports Page. Sports coverage from border to border and coast to coast. Troy Nargowski, Charlie Berry. By the way, Charlie's going to be busy tonight, and he's going to turn around and coach on Saturday as Garin will be playing in the 1A state championship game. I'm a little bit concerned that you took over for Keith because Keith is getting out of working all of a sudden.
Well, the bar's pretty low. It's in the basement right now,
yeah,
so
it is.
It can't get any worse.
We'll tell you what, you hold on right there. We'll come back after the national anthem, talk about our second semifinal right here on IndianaSRN.
We encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, IndianaSRN. Hit the bell to get notifications for upcoming games and more. Watch as many games as you want, as many times as you want.
At Morales Group Staffing, we are all about building better futures. And during these times, we are working hard to put people to work. We are now hiring for hundreds of jobs with pay up to $17 an hour. Visit our website at moralesgroup.net or text JOBS, JOBS, to 317-472-7600 to apply now and get hired today.
From warehousing to transportation and everything in between, Piper Logistics does it all. Centrally located, Piper Logistics has 2 warehouses in Indianapolis and a warehouse in Cincinnati, Ohio. Piper Logistics houses over 1 million square feet. Along with our transportation department, we can provide service to half the United States markets.
Welcome back to Hamilton Southeastern, getting set for game number 2. And Charlie, let's talk about these two teams. I know you know these two teams very well. I don't know if either one has a big advantage, but Culver's playing very, very well here at the end of the year.
Culver's playing great at the end of the year. They are the 4 seed. They were able to upset the 1 seed and 2 seed. The 1 seed went to, I think, 5 or 6 overtimes. The 2 seed against HSC went to 1 overtime. Just a good group of scrappy kids trying to make a statement and make a name for themselves.
And, of course, Carmel, as we mentioned, they're 12-4. They knocked off Noblesville to get here tonight. When you go back to that Culver matchup, they led 2-1 going into the 3rd. Culver scored 3 in the 4th. Carmel then scored 3 of their own in the 4th. And, of course, as we mentioned, that went into the 4 overtimes, a 6-5 final as Culver picked up the win there. Any advantage as you look at these two teams? Any strength that you look at, maybe one over the other?
Wow, that's a softball question. I think going back to this first matchup, so the night before Carmel played Culver, Carmel played HSC, and it was a really tight emotional game.
Yeah.
Now that I think that both teams have had time to prepare, we'll see how this shakes out. Both teams have been able to prepare. Carmel, I think, we think about this. They have a very long, rangy defense, and I think the offense for Culver may be susceptible to that. And conversely, I think that Carmel's offense can take advantage of the Culver defense. So it's really going to come down to the face-off play and goalie play for both. Both goalies are over 60%. Both face-offs are both over 60%. It'll be a game of chess out here.
By the way, Will Bates getting the start tonight for Carmel in goal. He's only given up 82 this year. That's an average of 6.2. As you mentioned, his save percentage at .634. And on the other side, Matas Latvi's young man is at a .597
Face-off won by Culver already.
So good start. Culver in the dark uniforms, and Carmel will be in their home whites here tonight.
Culver's going to spread it out. They like to have 2 guys down low, and they'll put 2 guys, a pair in each corner of the box. They will take their time. They will milk it. They don't want to fall into the athleticism of Carmel's defense, but we'll see how long that lasts.
We've seen teams do that quite a bit this year. If they don't have the speed and the athleticism, the best thing is to slow it down.
Yeah, there's no shot clock in high school lacrosse, and so I think that plays to the advantage of maybe you're not as deep or maybe not as skilled, so there's ways to kind of work it and kind of, like I said, play chess with these teams.
By the way, Max Mulliken leading the way for this Culver team. He wears number 50, 30 goals and 7 assists. He has a .357 shot percentage. But again, they don't have anybody on the team, as you look at their numbers, that are really dominant.
They also played a lot fewer games. Central Indiana teams are averaging 15, 16, 17, 18 games. I think Culver only played 10, 11, 12 games, so there's not a lot of opportunities to score. But, boy, when they score, they sure can.
Yeah, we saw them on this field not long ago, as you mentioned earlier, knocking off Hamilton Southeastern in overtime by a final of 9-8. That shot is high as Jacob Chapman unable to connect on the first shot of the game. But they will keep the possession right here. They average nearly 11 goals per game. And I would imagine, Coach, when you think about not playing as many games, deep shot and the score on the board. Tommy Scotto able to come up with the first score of the ball game.
That's good offensive movement, quick ball movement. Make sure the ball went from X up top, so the defense had to flip their hips. That's a good ball movement, good assisted goal right there.
That'll come at 10:15 here at period 1. Mentioning a moment ago about only averaging 11 goals per game, but
there's
again,
a procedure on the faceoff.
Well, that'll go over to the Greyhounds. I was going to ask you, though, you're playing up north. You probably don't have great weather until later on in the season anyway, so they may not be able to get as many games in because of that.
Well, there's a couple of reasons. A lot of these Culver young men participate in the hockey program, so they hold off. They'll maybe have 1 or 2 games before spring break, and then they're going to backload their schedule because they share so many athletes. So,
right.
And with their position, they're close to Chicago. They get the benefit of the prep team bringing other teams in, so it pans out, right? It proves that you don't really have to play an 18, 19 game schedule. As long as you have 10, 11, 12 really solid games, you could be okay for the playoffs.
First opportunity here for the Greyhounds. See if they can even things up, and they do. Didn't take long, though.
Great assisted goal again.
E.B. Warren gets his 25th of the year. And we're knotted up.
E.B. Warren's 2A all-class. They're all-state midfielder there. Just a great assisted goal, slipping into space, keeping it low on the goalie.
So we're knotted at 1 apiece. Winner of this again will play Hamilton Southeastern Saturday night at 7 o'clock. As the Royals knocked off Cathedral earlier. Possession will go to Carmel. Greyhounds working quickly in the offensive zone. Talk about some of the key players we'll watch for tonight. That pass a little bit behind, but it'll stay with the Greyhounds.
There's a flag down. I didn't see that. I don't know what that could be down for. Now we got a kid playing without his equipment. Yeah, stop play.
Yeah, the flag back at the 45. Take a look at the last goal we just saw moments ago.
Just blown away. I don't know if the goalie ever saw it. His head didn't look down. I'm not sure if he was tracking the ball. Maybe he didn't see the release point from EB on that particular shot.
Michael Steidel leading the way for Carmel. 56 goals this year, 65 points. Evan Coulter is a 34-29 player for 63 points. As those two guys lead the way for Carmel this season. Being patient again offensively here. There's the Greyhounds trying to take a 2-1 lead.
Culver's man down. They're being patient here. They're in a 1-3-2, trying to work it around, try to find the gap. A little bit of a kind of a big feed to the middle there. Ike Steidel picks the ball up. We're going to redirect the ball.
And they'll go to the X once again. Nice move to the inside and the score.
Evan Coulter with the goal.
So Coulter picks up his 35th of the season. And all of a sudden, Carmel takes a 2-1 lead.
That goal came at the end of a man-up, and we teach our boys that a man-up's, if it's 30 or 60, it's really 35 or 65 seconds because you got to get settled. You got to get matched up, and I think Evan Coulter just took advantage of Culver not quite being set, not found their matchups.
That one about a minute after the last goal by Warren. And so now Carmel takes the 2-1 lead. Ball knocked loose, turnover by Culver. And once again, Carmel will work on offense. I mentioned Will Bates, the keeper for the Greyhounds. 142 saves coming in. His save percentage is at .634. They average offensively nearly 12 goals per game. And they go to work once again.
What's interesting is, Carmel's a senior-heavy team. Culver only has 4 seniors. That's a majority of underclassmen, a lot of freshmen and sophomores who are more or less waiting their turn to go play on the nationally ranked prep team. And they're very, very talented.
Yes, they are. I've seen where a lot of those guys are going. A lot of major programs by their prep team, as that last shot by Brock Rose was a miss. Coming up on 7 minutes remaining and a near turnover. Carmel holding possession here is Kane Shelburne, senior midi. They'll work it back outside as the Greyhounds trying to take a 3-1 lead. Rose Back to the outside. Long shot bouncing in, and it's now 3-1.
E.B. Warren with another goal, another assisted goal for Carmel. You know, assisted goals do a couple of things. One, it proves that you're unselfish on offense, and two, you have to make the goalie has to readjust. So you're making a move. He can't get locked in on one guy, one shooter, and hopefully this kind of, you know, draws the attention away because you know who hasn't shot yet is Ike Steidel, and Ike loves to shoot. So hopefully this is going to free him up to get his hands free.
Well, 3 in a row now by Carmel, and they'll win another face-off. Flag is down. 2 flags are now flying. And this will be called here on the near sideline as well. There's that last goal right there. The bounce actually was about 3 feet in front of the keeper, as Latvies has given up 3 here in the first period.
Hey, if it's man up, it should be a free clear. I'm not sure why they're making him clear the ball right now. This is a interesting call by the officials.
Jeff Steadfast is in the penalty box now for Culver. So again, an opportunity here for Carmel as they lead it 3-1. After giving up that opening goal, they have dominated since that point as we're under 6:30 to go. That is Coulter. Coulter again, a goal moments ago. Warren has 2 already now for Carmel. And now we're at even strength.
Being patient behind cage. Culver does a good job, or Carmel does a good job of moving off ball.
Push from behind. A flag is down. The goal is scored. This time, number 20, Evan Bardwell.
Four goals, 4 assisted goals. That's great work on the Carmel team here. Let's see if they can keep it up. I think it wouldn't be a bad idea to take a timeout right on cue. It's like he heard me. Let's get the Culver boys, get the guys in ready to relax a little bit, talk to them, let them know there's a game going on. It'll be fine.
4-1 your score.
Hello and welcome to Game Day. My name is Keith Myers. I'm the Vice President of IndianaSRN. We're glad that you joined us today. If you'd like to see more content just like tonight, just hit the donate button. Every dollar that you donate will go right back into more games right here on IndianaSRN. This means more games for you. It's IndianaSRN, where you always have a front row seat.
Looking to elevate your brand? Choose Dynamark, your local one-stop shop for all your print, signs, promo products, apparel, and mailing services. Serving Indianapolis for over 50 years. Dynamark, where strong relationships are built through exceptional service.
Back here at Hamilton Southeastern, you see the officials checking a couple of sticks, and we'll have you explain that in a couple of moments. But look at this goal we just saw moments ago, the shove from behind, but Bardwell still able to get the 4th goal here for Carmel. Back to the second goal that Carmel had. This was the Coulter goal.
Come around from X, you got to close your hips, turn that guy away.
I talk about the challenge, if there would be a challenge on the sticks, since you brought that up during the timeout.
Yeah, during the timeout, you know, during the first and third quarters, officials will typically grab a stick from each team, and they're looking for measurements, the depth of pocket, so on and so forth. However, throughout a game, coaches get 2 challenges. If you get it right, you get another one, quote unquote, but if you get it wrong, you lose a timeout. And what they're doing is a part of that is they're looking at sticks, but they're also looking at players. Are their gloves torn up? Do they have a mouthpiece in? Is the chin strap on properly? It's the safety of the game and it's fairness of the game. It's random. Coaches can be specific if they want to. Sometimes it's used, sometimes it's not. More often it's not used.
We've only seen, I think, one time where a team got caught with an illegal stick, but that was Hamilton Southeastern. They've been that game. So after the face-off won there by Culver, they'll go on offense. It's been a long time. They're back to the 10-15 mark since they have scored. Mentioned about Max Mulliken. He is working on this left side. Let's see if they'll try to get him involved. There's Jacob Chapkin, and now to Mulliken. Mulliken at the X. They'll reverse it to the right side. Good defense there by the Greyhounds. By the way, Charlie's team will be playing in the 1A championship coming up on Saturday.
Saturday at 4. Well, excited to play Evansville Memorial. I know the boys are excited. My coaching staff is super excited. Just a great group of guys, great group of coaches. Just one more day to compete together as a family, as a unit. Can't wait for it.
What has been the key for your team this year is Mulliken has that one stopped. Well, we've had a chance to watch you the other night. And
I think there's a sense of togetherness. There's a sense of unity. We've had some. We got a timeout. We've had some injuries, so we've had to get guys to play together. We've had to adjust guys to their position, and I think it's a good example of when a team puts somebody first. When they put the team first, the team comes a lot further than individuals first.
Take a timeout. 4-1 Carmel.
From warehousing to transportation and everything in between, Piper Logistics does it all. Centrally located, Piper Logistics has 2 warehouses in Indianapolis and a warehouse in Cincinnati, Ohio. Piper Logistics houses over 1 million square feet. Along with our transportation department, we can provide service to half the United States markets.
Get a gator that will get you where you need to go. Something you can get in and go with plenty of space. Be ready to tackle any terrain, large or small. When you choose Reynolds, you choose reliability. A guaranteed great customer experience and relationship from the moment you walk in. Come in and see for yourself or visit reynoldsfarmequipment.com.
Back here at Hamilton Southeastern, 4-1 your score as Carmel fell down early 1-0, but they've scored now 4 unanswered. Troy Niergowski along with Charlie Berry, as we've been talking about his team in the state championship game coming up on Saturday. A lot of growth in this sport over the years. I know that it's probably going to continue to grow as the popularity continues here in the Midwest as well. Where do you see high school lacrosse going? There's another shot and a score. How about that? Right after the timeout.
Quick restart, unsettled, unassisted. It's a great look. I think of the sport, I think it's really important for coaches at all levels to, one, grow where your feet is at. This game really, the high school game is dependent on the youth game. And so high school coaches, high school players need to invest in their local youth programs to get it going. We were just talking about, what if it ever becomes ISHAA? It's like, that maybe down the road, that'd be great. That's one of the goals of the ISHLA is to have that happen. But, right now we'd lose a lot more than we would gain.
Well, I know the girls are heading that direction, are they not?
The girls are. Another face-off win for Carmel. The girls are. So they got approved for an emerging sport. The girls' president is actually the girls' head coach at Guerin Catholic, and he and I talk a lot. He's going through the process. Both programs met with the ISHAA, the AA, and the boys decided to wait and see how the girls did, see what happens with them before we push any further. So we'll see what happens. There's a lot of things that are going to change, and we'll see if it sticks.
Carmel trying to go up 6-1. They've been playing very well after falling down 1-0. Brock Rose working out front, along with Michael Steidel. Yep, and Steidel shoots and scores on cue.
It's only a matter of time before Ike Steidel lets you know he's in the game.
Now, if you're on the other side and you're Culver and you've fallen behind now 6-1, what do you tell your players at this stage?
It's still the first quarter. You don't need. There's still 45 minutes left in the game. Just be patient, right? Just be patient. Stick to your game plan. You don't need to hurry up. You don't need to change anything. I think they definitely have an advantage at the face-off X right on cue, they missed one. So they just got to be patient, right? They don't have to panic. There's still a lot of time left.
Well, and I'll ask you from this standpoint, too, and we talked, at least I mentioned this early, that it doesn't appear that Culver has a lot of guys who can light things up on the scoreboard. How far can they fall behind? Are they kind of the team that can make a comeback when they're down big? Or?
I'm going to counter you on that one. I think they've got some guys that can light that goal up.
Okay.
But the issue right now is they haven't had a possession, right? Their defense has been out there. They've been working hard on defense. So now you're caught between a rock and a hard place. If you get a possession, you obviously want to score, but you also need to give your defense a rest. So how do you negotiate that scenario? Maybe it's a 1-minute possession. You spin the ball around one time, then you go. Maybe it's a 45-second one. You'll get a break on the goal, but
Steidel did it again.
Steidel's 2 for 2. I remember watching the Center Grove game. Ike Steidel scored 3 goals in 45 seconds.
Wow. Well, he's about a minute apart on these. It's now a 7-1 deficit as Culver in a big hole here in the opening period. And we still have 2:37 remaining. Now, we saw something like this last night in that Evansville Memorial game when they're playing Bishop Chatard, and Bishop Chatard jumped on them early. It was 5-0 at the end of the first period, and Memorial eventually started coming back and ended up winning that one 13-11.
I think, there's a face-off win. So now they're going to get a possession here. That's kind of what we need to. Last night's game was fun. They jumped out quick. It wasn't the game that most people were expecting. But, again, I said it a moment ago. There's a lot of time left, right? You can still get your looks that you need to.
But ideally not the start you want. Sure.
No, coming at deck from 6 is tough. So there's no room for error anymore.
That is Brady Standfast out front, along with Nate Sueza, as he has been held quiet here tonight. We mentioned we had seen this Culver team a couple of weeks ago here winning against Hamilton Southeastern. Went into overtime before they won that one 9-8.
I think what advantaged Culver in both of those games against Carmel and HSC is they were low scoring.
Yeah.
Right? People weren't pushing the ball around. Well, now that, Carmel's MO is let's get out big, let's start fast, and they've definitely done that. So now, it puts more pressure on Red. Red's got to kind of move the ball a little bit. There's a lot of guys standing around. It's really easy to stay covered if you're standing around. Got to be effective off ball.
Carmel trying to make a return trip to that championship game as that shot wide left by Blake Manning.
Stays with Red.
Ferrari was behind the cage for the moment. Ball comes loose. Turnover by Culver. Well, there was a chance right there. They had long possession.
Long possession. There's an empty possession. Not a great ride right there. Just kind of going down the field. Carmel's going to get out and run with you, so you gotta figure out how do you generate your stops? How do you get the ball more? Where do you turn the ball over? Where do you pressure out?
O'Leary lost it at the X. Turnover by Carmel. And here comes Culver once again. Trying to get the second goal of the night.
Short time here.
Not a clean possession to this stage. They turn it over. 3 seconds remaining. Going to have to hurry to get a shot. Long range, wide left. And that's going to do it. All Carmel after one. 7-1 your score.
At Morales Group Staffing, we are all about building better futures. And during these times, we are working hard to put people to work. We are now hiring for hundreds of jobs with pay up to $17 an hour. Visit our website at moralesgroup.net or text JOBS, JOBS, to 317-472-7600 to apply now and get hired today.
We encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, IndianaSRN. Hit the bell to get notifications for upcoming games and more. Watch as many games as you want, as many times as you want.
Head to period number 2, taking a look at the Greyhounds, who have opened up a 7-1 lead as we head to the second period. I was looking a little at the schedules late, and Carmel, in their last 5 games, they lost 3 of the 5. They go to St. Xavier, lose that one 14-2, which probably a lot of teams do. They beat Hamilton Southeastern 10-9. They lose to Culver in the 4 overtime 6-5. They win at Cathedral 13-8, and then they lose to Detroit Country Day 19-9. So very tough schedule down the stretch.
Some of those are back-to-back. So HSC was a win on a Friday, and then they have Culver. Now they're a little banged up. Cathedral was a win on a Friday night. They hop on a bus Saturday morning, take about a 5-hour ride up to Detroit. And Detroit Country Day, or Detroit Central Catholic, whoever they played, they're a very good team. I think they're in the running for state for Michigan right now.
Yeah, it's a tough schedule, though, to do that on a Friday and jump on the bus on Saturday. And
it prepares teams for moments like this where, you're going to get a couple days rest here, but if you're playing that caliber of opponent, it'll benefit you in the long run.
All right, ready for period number 2, and see if Culver can come back. Scotto got that goal at 10:15, and since then they have been shut down.
Look at the first quarter. Carmel had 4 assists. They won 5 faceoffs, and they were 50% on their man up. That's a pretty good first quarter. Way to kind of start fast here.
Scramble for the loose ball here. Nobody wants to seem to get this one, do they?
Just anybody can pick it up. I don't really care who.
Finally, Culver comes away with it. So let's see what Culver can do here. This game can change so quickly. We've seen that. In fact, we even saw it in our first semifinal where we saw Cathedral fall down 1-0, scored the next 3 goals, and then after that, they just could not find the cage consistently, and then Hamilton Southeastern held them off for an 11-8 win. So many times you see a team score, and they'll come back and score 2 or 3 more times in a very short period of time, and there is one right there. Jacob Chapman on the board here in the second.
That's a good way to start the second quarter. First possession, get a goal on it. Hopefully that turns some momentum. Lacrosse is a game of runs, just like basketball. When momentum swings, or even football sometimes, when momentum makes that swing, you can kind of keep it going. So first quarter, Carmel, a lot of momentum. Let's see if Carmel, or excuse me, these C teams, let's see if Culver can keep that momentum going here, get a win at the face-off, and see what happens.
7-2 your score, face-off once again. And one, it'll be by Culver. Quickly the other way, and another quick score. Jeff Steadfast. And that's as quick as you can get right there.
2 goals in 10 seconds. 7-3 is a different game than 7-1.
It is.
Not 90 seconds ago. So
Jacob Chapman gets the first one. Jack Standfast gets number 2.
4, 5, and 6 for Culver are a bunch of triplets to Standfast. There's another one, Tommy, number 1. He is the oldest. He's a sophomore. Excuse me, he's a freshman. The rest of them are sophomores.
Carmel able to come away with it on the face-off. So now 7-3 after 2 quick goals here by Culver to begin the second. Boy, near side is Steidel with 56 goals coming in, has a couple of them tonight, so make it 58. Once again, they'll slow it down and work it from here as you take a look here on the near side at Brock Rose. He's been very active here this evening, the 5'8 senior. That shot just a little bit off the mark. It'll stay with the Greyhounds.
Not a bad take on that one. They're working some pairs actions on both sides, so they're looking for picks in a 2-man game. it creates a mismatch, and hopefully they can find something out of that. Carmel's goals in the first were a lot in transition. There was some isolation stuff, some man-up stuff, but a settled defense is kind of what Culver wants, right? They want a slower game, and it'll help them out.
Well, on the scoreboard, it looks a whole lot better now, as you mentioned, 7-3. Giving them a little bit of confidence here as that will be bounced. Long shot there by E.B. Warren looking for number 2.
What benefited Carmel in the first quarter was their ability to share the ball. Last couple takes have been kind of a one pass. Nothing? There
you go.
There it is. It's kind of been one pass, a little bit of hero ball. I'm just going to go to the cage. So, again, stay to your game plan. Unassisted, unselfish goals are going to win. This is Carmel's third man up.
So when you're on the sidelines, we'll find out, get true confessions here from Coach Barry. When you're on the sidelines, how much do you work those officials, or do you really have to very much? True confessions, Coach.
Yeah, the taxi cab confessions on IndianaSRN right now. I don't know. It depends. I think that what I've learned as I coach is that there's perspective, right? I have a perspective on the sideline, 30, 40, 50, 100 yards away where the official's right there.
Right.
What I'm often asking is, all right, why did that happen? And then I'm going to tell them, I'll expect you to make that call again, because if you're going to call that, it kind of opens up the door. So I'm always looking for consistency. And a lot of times, yelling at an official, berating an official doesn't really help.
Right.
Sometimes I got to let them know that I do not approve of their officiating. They're getting paid to do a job, and sometimes I want to fire them, but I don't have that ability to do so. So.
Latvies had the nice save as Culver back on the attack.
I think that might be his first or second save of the game. We haven't been tracking that in all the notes that we're doing up here. We haven't tracked saves, so we might want to start that one. But a save is good. That's like a face-off win. That's another possession. We're not tracking ground balls. That's another possession. So now Carmel's coming back.
We have an employee that's not doing anything right now. We should have had him on it, huh?
He just ignored us. I don't know how you do it sometimes.
I ask him every time, what stats are you keeping? And he'll ask me, which ones do you want? And I look over and there's nothing there. By the end of the game, it's still a blank sheet of paper.
Come on, teamwork makes the dream work, guys.
That's right. It's a hazard, all right. So the Greyhounds in possession. Max McCord. I will be curious, though, on Saturday when you play, what his analysis will be.
I think he's just taking notes on all the jabs we're giving him, so he's just going to get even.
He might use that true confession thing, huh?
Yeah.
Culver getting a little charge out of that check, huh?
Yeah, now so, some officials could have called that a cross check, so now you've set the standard. Hey, if his hands are going to be apart and you're going to push him to the ground, now you gotta be consistent in that call.
That was Harrison Stanley. That is Stanley again defending. The shot on the way, left hand, good.
Max McCord, unassisted.
The junior getting one back from Culver. It's now 8-3. So that'll come at 6:55 of period number 2. So how do you sleep on Friday night with the championship on Saturday, okay?
Probably won't. There's a certain point as a coach, like, you are who you are. You can prep so much. They'll get a scout, and we'll do everything. Part of it is be prepared, and part of it is like, hey, go make some memories this weekend, boys. Like, remember the bus ride. Remember the time in the locker room. Remember being on the sidelines. Remember being in the game. And then, but at the end of the day, you are who you are. And I think for me, it'll be like, Christmas Eve, right? You're excited. You know what you're going to get in the morning, what's going to happen. You just want to get it over with. I'd be happy if that game was at 9 o'clock in the morning, just so that, I'm not pacing around.
Wondering what to do with yourself?
Well, I'm sure Mrs. Coach Berry would appreciate it if it was earlier in the day, too. So,
yeah, I'm sure waiting is the hardest part. That's going to be stolen away. Mid-air steal and in transition. Now Culver down by 5 as we're coming up on 6 minutes remaining.
Still plenty of time. Don't need to really do too much here. They do have a good offense when they get it right, get the field right.
You know, one thing about it, you mentioned their Culver's prep team and just all those players, and you start looking down the list of where those guys are going to school, it's amazing.
It's pretty neat to have that in the state of Indiana. You know, this varsity team is a lot of guys just kind of waiting their turn. So, you know, that sometimes great assisted goal.
Dom Ferrari on the board.
And so, you know, I was talking to Coach Johnson a couple weeks ago, and I was like, how does that play out? And like, you know, these kids, they don't necessarily always practice with the prep team, but they get that exposure every now and then. You know, winning state, not a lot of them are from Indiana, but winning state would still be a kind of a feather in their cap and like, hey, like I was on that team that did this. And it's nice to see kind of Culver kind of competing at this level.
He wins the face-off here. Culver coming up with it here and back on the attack once again. Looking for another quick one. Down by 4 here in the second. Winner again will move on and play Hamilton Southeastern Saturday. Carmel's hoping to get back to that game. They ended up beating Hamilton Southeastern during the regular season last year, then lost in the state championship game a year ago. You know, Guerin is, from an athletic standpoint, a lot of very successful programs at Guerin Catholic High School, and I'm sure that from a standpoint of this, not only your success this year, but all the support you get from everybody is pretty good too, huh?
I'm really lucky to be at Guerin. I think that there's great support from Ryan Davis and Alfie Hernandez, our athletic department. You know, Guerin's expanding. We're adding like 65,000 square feet, new field house, new weight room, new locker rooms. They're doing their best to give us the best facilities they can, but you know, girls lacrosse, they just won the night, so they're going to state on Saturday.
Yeah, that's right.
Their golf team, boys golf team, has been pretty good. I know they've got, you know, regional qualifiers for track. We think of fall sports. You know, soccer's won a state championship recently. You know, basketball has been successful as of late, but you know, Coach Bobby Allen's coming over to HSC next year, and they're gonna. And I'm excited for the new Coach Gardner to take over for it. So I think Guerin's a great place to go. Great opportunity for kids. You can play multiple sports. You can excel in one sport, and I think you're going to get a world-class education if you go to Guerin Catholic.
Big hit on the sideline. Culver takes over.
Hey, that's a great ride. That's another possession, right? If you're not getting possessions when you need them, riding's a good way to get it. Making saves out of your goal is a great way to get it back.
So when will that field house be ready to go?
Soon. So they're getting pretty close. It's hopefully supposed to be open before the next school season or the school year starts. It'll be nice to have it. Just kind of a general facelift around campus. Their new entrance to the football stadium. It'll be really, really nice. And it's not just athletics. It's also fine arts too. They're getting a 500 person auditorium, which I think is great for our fine arts because there's a lot of kids in some sports that have the ability and flexibility to do both.
Yeah.
Right? So again, another great opportunity, great way to contribute to your high school and be involved in as many things as you can.
Boy, another point-blank shot.
Will Bates standing on his head on this possession. Good for Will. That's a lot of shots to keep it to 8-4. Good job, number one, all-state, all-class Will Bates doing his job back there.
Boy, and Dom Ferrari ended up having a heck of a shot. Got a whistle here. That's going to go against Culver. Looks like we may have a timeout. 2:39 remaining in the first half. 8-4 Carmel.
At Morales Group Staffing, we are all about building better futures. And during these times, we are working hard to put people to work. We are now hiring for hundreds of jobs with pay up to $17 an hour. Visit our website at moralesgroup.net or text JOBS, JOBS, to 317-472-7600 to apply now and get hired today.
We encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, IndianaSRN. Hit the bell to get notifications for upcoming games and more. Watch as many games as you want, as many times as you want.
Back here at Hamilton Southeastern, great to have you with us, and a Snickers stealer coming in here too. You know what? I opened that bag for, well, I opened it for her earlier, and then she turned it down. And then I said, I'll go open it for Keith, and Keith said, well, don't open it for me because then you'll give me a hard time about opening it for him. So then I didn't open it, and he was mad because I didn't open it.
You know, she can have as many as she wants. She's our event coordinator out here. She's doing an awesome job. Again, a big thanks to the volunteers here at HSC, the folks working the press box, the cameraman, everybody that's doing awesome out there. There's parents working the concession stand, parents taking tickets. I think parents might be acting as crowd control somewhere. So I'm just grateful to have HSC. They're great facilities, opening up the locker rooms to everybody. You know, most of the time, a lot of these schools are rivals, but here we can come together and we can share what we have. Yeah, no doubt about it. So it takes a team effort to get this all put together, and we always enjoy being here as, again, Carmel now with a 4-goal lead as we're coming up on the 2-minute mark here before halftime. It's a little good on good. Ike Seidel against Cam. Both of them are all-state players. I'd like to see that matchup kind of go a couple times, see who gets the best out of that one. You see that pairs action again on the other side. They're going to come back to it on this side. Ike's going to like to go to his top hand. He's going to probably take a righty shot here.
And he scores. Got that little screen. It wasn't much of a screen, but it was enough to give him some room.
It doesn't take much. You know, those picks are great. I think picks cause a little deception. And I think for a goalie, if you can learn to shoot right off your pick, the goalie can't track the release point. And I don't think the goalie knew that was coming. So just got to be aware, got to be ready. Nine's going to shoot. More often than not, Nine's going to shoot.
Well, you know, when I think about being a goalie, and there's so much traffic, and I watch a lot of hockey too, and there's so much traffic in front of a goalie that sometimes I'm not sure how you even see where that ball is coming from.
Well, that's why they do it, and I don't. And so they're getting paid the big bucks to do it, and you know. Some goalies are really active, and you can kind of see them peeking and leaning to kind of get around. I think with lacrosse, you kind of be more in your stance. I think having a good stance, athletic, wide base, hands free and ready to move. Whereas kind of hockey, I mean, you're covering 85% of the goal, so you just, you know. But they still score on it, so it's crazy to see how that works out.
Well, and it does bring up then an interesting point. If somebody's not familiar with lacrosse as a whole, they probably look at the goalkeeper and go, why doesn't this person have more padding on than he has?
They're asking why about a lot of things, just in general. Because essentially what they're wearing, they have a helmet on, they got gloves, and then it's essentially like a catcher's chest protector, kind of redesigned for lacrosse. And that's about it. Whereas like field players, they got gloves, elbow pads, shoulder pads, you know, protective equipment almost everywhere.
But you wouldn't, in other words, if you were a goalkeeper, it wouldn't be something you'd like to do. Would you like to be a goalie?
Hard pass. Hard pass on that one.
We saw a goalie last night take a shot that I wasn't sure he was getting up.
That's scary. They wear cups, and sometimes even with cups you can still get an injury. And that ball, these kids are not – that ball's moving. You know, you're looking at 75, 85, 95 miles an hour. Solid rubber that's not going to move.
Yeah.
Right? Not is unforgiving once it gets some heat on it.
Steidel making a move as he turns to his right, shoots and misses, but he had a pretty good look for a moment.
You know, we're short time. We're going into half, 9-4. You know, if Carmel gets a goal, it could be a backbreaker. If Culver can keep them out here for these last 10, you know, that's good. But, again, 9 has it. I bet you 9's going to shoot.
And you're right. All you had to do is he's going to shoot and score. You did look really good there.
I see the HSE staff sitting on the far far stands over there. I hope their scout is nine's going to shoot.
Yeah.
Maybe we should put a poll on that guy. So,
well, you mentioned that too. That again, we got a lot of lacrosse to play, but that could be a backbreaker right there. You ended up getting a couple of goals. You scored 3 out of 4 there, and all of a sudden you give a couple of them back.
They started the quarter strong. There you go.
Time will run out before anything can happen. A nice first half for Carmel and a good way to finish it. And I'll tell you what, Steidel's already, 4 goals in the first half by that young man, kind of setting the tone a little bit, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a tremendous athlete. Just loves to fire the rock. I think as we look to the second half, we'll talk about it here at the break, but there's some adjustments that can be made, and I think 6 goals, it seems like a lot, but there's 24 minutes left to play, so We'll see.
All right, there you have it. Again, Steidel leading the way, 4 goals. He scored at 3.6 to end out the first half of play, and right now Carmel in the driver's seat as we head to the locker room. Your halftime score, Carmel 10, Culver 4. This is the 2A semifinal here on IndianaSRN.
We're not here to just sell you another piece of software. We're here to helping you procure the licensing, manage and monitor those licenses over time.
Collaboration is very key when working with our clients. We are very much a partnering organization. We definitely work as a team to deliver solutions for our customers.
We're here to build relationships with customers, which is unique.
The nice thing about having Coach Barry in the press box with us is we can pick your brain on both sides of the issue here. We got about a minute. I want to ask you, if you're Culver, you're down there now in the end zone, what are you telling your team?
One, what are their strengths? Their strengths is the face-off, so they have to be very good at the face-off. 2, their strength then is also probably their offense, so they need to figure out ways to get it onto that, to the offensive side of the ball. 6 goals, we saw them score 2 goals in 15 seconds. So it's not insurmountable, but, your defense is going to have to press out. You're going to have to make some adjustments and look for shooters like 9 to come down there. If I'm Carmel, on the other hand, my theory is all gas, no break.
Right.
Keep it going. You have an opportunity to go back to the state finals. I think a couple of their adjustments, again, is kind of a counteract. Clean up your face-off play, kind of win your fair share there. And then, make sure that, Culver was cold because they were taking unassisted shots. So these last 3 goals that they had were all assisted shots, right? So, that's just a sign of guys losing their guys, maybe not getting in gloves, maybe not playing fundamental feet-first defense. So if they get away from that, it can allow Culver to come back into the game.
Yeah. And you want to put your shoe on the throat and don't allow him to do it, right?
Yeah, I think I think this could have been a game where we're going to beat Culver, we're going to play HHC. It could have been a little bit of a trap game, but again, I think that there's a lot of motivators for that team in white. Play the state championship, and then get kind of revenge, if you will, for a team that you lost.
All right, stay right there. We'll be back second half, 10-4 here at halftime.
Brian Chrisman joins me today. And Brian, talk a little bit about the winter and Wheeler Mission and how important it is for people to help Wheeler Mission, because winter means homeless and homeless means people in the cold. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, we really serve a lot of people year round, no matter what the weather is, right? And so we serve anywhere from 700 to 900 people who are experiencing homelessness every single night. But when winter hits, that can become life or death. So if you're stuck out in the cold, happens every year. IMPD will find people out in the cold and encourage them to come in. But if they don't catch them in time, again, life and death. And so it's vital that our doors are open. And so we do that. Our staff shows up every day to make sure our doors are open. We serve 1,000 meals a day plus every single day. That's a nice, warm, nutritious meal. Donors provide that. Donors provide our food, coffee, something hot to drink. Donors provide that. So there's a lot of opportunities to get involved at Wheeler to make sure we can get through winter, or to work at Wheeler. We need staff, and so we're always looking for staff to get us through the winter time. we spread ourselves thin during winter, making sure that anybody can find space. And so we have bed capacities for sure, but we go beyond that every winter to make sure that the city has an option for people who are experiencing homelessness in the dead of winter.
Schools out there that are watching this program, with our reach, maybe they want to do a sock drive, or they want to do a sweatshirt drive. They can contact our office at IndianaSRN, or they can contact you. Where's a contact, or who would be a contact that maybe we want to do a sock drive? I think that would be a great idea for SRN to start one of those sock drives. How would that? What does that look like?
Yeah, so if you go to wheelermission.org, we have our needs lists that are right there on our website. Those change sometimes in the winter, but there are some needs that are pretty much continual when it comes to hygiene items, when it comes to warm items to get us through the winter. So when you're talking about coats, especially bigger sizes for people that come through, we want to make sure a lot of people that come to our mission, they come with the clothes on their back, right? And so we need to make sure they have something to wear during their stay with us, and which could be for a few weeks, could be for a couple months. And so go to our website, wheelermission.org. You can donate directly there, whether it's a financial donation, or you can look at our needs list. You can even find drop-off locations. You can drop it off at some of the barns that we have around the city, or come right down to Wheeler Mission, drop it off right there. But we need this community's support. So greatest thing about Indianapolis is it is a generous community.
Yes.
It is a community that steps up when there's a need. And there's 1,700 homeless individuals in our community. That number has risen 5% just over the last year. Wheeler Mission is the main place for those individuals to go, has been since 1893, over 130 years. And so support that ministry so that those doors can be open, making sure that every man, woman, and child that needs to come inside can come inside and not only get warm, but get nutritious meals, food, shelter, and care. And so beyond that, we take them through a whole journey of program to make sure that they come out our back door different people. But the first things first, right? Get them fed and get them warm and get them safe.
Since it's basketball season and we cover over 300 games a year on IndianaSRN, we challenge our basketball teams and our basketball programs to get involved. There are meals that need to be served. Tell our teams out there how they can help and serve meals.
Yeah, no better way to really open your eyes to the community's needs than to stand in front of people who are desperately in need and hand them a meal, hand them what they're asking for that day. So great group opportunity is to volunteer at Wheeler Mission. You can go to wheelervolunteer.org. You can sign up a group. It can take an hour and a half to come down and serve a lunch. You can get 12, 15 people involved in that, a dinner, come down either at our men's shelter or our women's shelter. It's a really cool experience for teams, not only to help in a way that you're making a difference, but to see the people that you're helping, right? To hand a meal to someone and smile and say hi to someone literally in their darkest moment, right? So
best assist they can ever make.
Oh yeah,
is to serve a meal.
That's a good point. It's a slam dunk.
It's a slam dunk, exactly. For IndianaSRN, this is Keith Myers.
Hey, we just want to set the schedule for you on Saturday. Don't forget, at 1 o'clock, we'll have the club team championship, and then we'll follow that up with the 1A championship at around 4, and then we'll have the 2A championship at 7 o'clock. Busy day, and I know that not only are you thinking about coaching, though, you got to be around as the president for this whole thing to kind of see what else is going on, don't you?
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to work out yet. It's been a couple of years, so I'll probably be with my team for most of the day. John Duffy, who's taken over for me, has been a great job. He's been helping out. I think on the weekend we'll have more of the ISHLA staff around, and so they'll be able to kind of take some of that load off. But again, HSE is doing a great job running this. It's a well-greased machine around here, so it'll be fun. It'll be a good time to kind of get together and play lacrosse, celebrate a game that we all love.
All right, we'll come back. Second half action on the way here on IndianaSRN. Big play here for Mount Vernon. Hurdle looking right, now over the middle, fires, and it's in there for a touchdown. What a throw.
Boy, what a stick, huh?
Side out, back to the middle, and guess what? You want a point on the other side, you go to Taylor Lewis.
Here's Freeman. Has an opening shot. Score!
Stafford around a screen. Skip pass. Mays with 3. Mays drive. Floater up and in at the horn.
Hand off, and nice hole over the near side. 40, 35, 30. Block to the outside. 20, 15, 10, 5, and touchdown. And that's a big one right there. And finally, somebody gets on the board.
Go ref.
We're back here at Hamilton Southeastern, ready for the third quarter of play as Carmel again with a 6-goal lead. See how Culver will respond here in the third. Lights are on, and we're ready to go once again here in the second semifinal. And right now, Culver's got a ways to go, but they'll win the face-off to begin the second half.
Now, we were talking about, before in the first half, you start to panic. Well, not yet, but now you got to play with some intensity, some hustle, and you probably need to figure out how do I shorten my offensive possessions and be effective on it. And, this spread out is good. It'll change the slide package, but, we don't need to have a game of catch out here. We need to have a game of goals. So, let's see if we can get on our horses here.
Something that I don't know if we all noticed that Culver was down here warming up, and I noticed it myself, that they came out, were warming up out on the grass, and then they came back out and did their normal warm-up routine. It seemed like they might have been out quite a bit getting ready for this.
Yeah, I noticed that. They came out probably in the third quarter-ish sometime during the previous game. There's a grassy area, a grassy knoll to the south of the field here that they were out there, and they did a lot of their stick work. I think they did some of their dynamic, and they were moving around pretty well. And then they were on the field as soon as that HSC Cathedral game ended. So, high school athletes, and I think athletes are routine's a big deal. And if you break that routine, your head's kind of all over the place. Well, now we're stretching again. Now we're doing more stick work. We just did stick work over there. So that could get you in a little bit of a funk there.
Boy, the double team here on the near side against Mulliken.
Going to get a loose ball push. Going to go back to Red over there. But yeah, I think that might have thrown the routine off, right? Carmel came out. They did a 30-minute warm-up. Looks like it's paying off. So sometimes you can be too loose.
Yeah. It's amazing what athletes like about routine, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Red needs to move a little bit more off ball here. They can't just kind of wait and stand around. You have a shorty at X. Should be a good double team right there. I wonder what this is going to be. It looks like it might be in a cross-check neighborhood.
There's
Second one.
There's
Third
another
one.
Got the hat trick. Oh, have fun sorting this one out, huh?
Yep.
Well, got a little chippy right there. 3 flags are down.
So I wonder if a couple things. So 1 flag, it's alternating possession. 2 flags will stop the play. I wonder if that 3rd flag, the other official saw the same penalty just from a different angle. So, now they'll have a conference here. Thank goodness they stayed at a Holiday Inn Express last night. Hopefully they get it figured out. And they just got to adjudicate this properly, and we'll be all set.
I was asking you a little bit about officials as far as trying to get officials. We were off the air, and if you had a shortage of officials at the lacrosse games that we see in all the other sports, in fact, some of them over the last couple of years got to the point where they've had to cancel games and maybe move games and such, but is it the same as in lacrosse, or are you guys okay in that area?
Every sport needs officials. It's not just limited to lacrosse there. I think we had some unnecessary roughnesses going either way, and I think there might have been an interference call. So officials, right? Every sport needs officials. I think that if you're a youth player and you want to get to know the game, take the official scores and it's extra money for the weekend, especially if you're a college student. It's extra money for the weekend or what have you. But these guys that are doing today's games, they're probably going to go do some youth games at a tournament maybe at some other time soon. Yeah. So if you're youth, sign up and see if you can get assigned to maybe your youth program stuff. Working a part of the athletic department, I've worked with Ryan and Alfie. I've heard Ryan and Alfie talk about, hey, we have to cancel this game because there's not an umpire for it. It's really bad in baseball and softball right now. But I think, if you want to be around the game and you're in college and you're not playing anymore, officiate. I think it's $75, $85 a game. I'm pretty sure if I was in college, I have an extra $75. I can find something for it to go for. So that money would not be wasted. And like the other thing you do about officiating is you set your own schedule. Hey, I only want to do Saturdays, or hey, I only want to do Wednesdays.
You're right.
Right. So it's not an extra burden on you. And again, a couple of games here and there. I think in season these guys will go. I've seen officials go. They've gone like 10 straight days, 14 straight days, no breaks.
Wow, so no kidding. By the way, you see 3 bodies over there in the penalty box. So 2 for Carmel, 1 for Culver. Once they got things sorted out, we're back underway.
So Culver's got the advantage. Now they have the advantage because on the dead ball foul is what turned it over. So Culver got a penalty second. It turned the ball back over.
Went Culver quickly the other way.
Well, see, here's the great part, right? So now if they get their subs right, there's so much room to work. I wouldn't hold this ball. Like, you're having trouble with them 6-on-6, let's go for it 5-on-4. Maybe 5-on-5 right now because now there's something a little extra going on. But take advantage of the extra room.
That shot's going to go a little bit high and to the right. It'll stay here with Culver. Coming up on 9 minutes remaining in the third. So far, nobody's been able to scratch in this third period.
Turnover, Josh Goodsby, all-state, all-class defenseman.
Not a good pass that time by Scotto. Tommy Scotto ended up turning that over. Here come the Greyhounds again. The pass to the inside.
Good back check there.
Away.
I'm not sure who got that back check, but that was good awareness there. I think the sin bin is now vacant. So all penalties have expired, and no team better for it.
Boy, a lot of physicality there on the sideline.
I don't think Culver's gotten their touch yet. So once you cross that midfield, you have 10 seconds to get it to the 30-yard line, and they didn't get that. That's an empty possession. That's something that you've got to be aware of.
Yeah, they weren't even close to the 30. So now you'll see the Greyhounds back on offense, still leading it by 6. We had a flurry of goals, 8 in the opening period. Ended up with 6 in the second, but since then it has been pretty quiet here in the third.
Maybe the commentator's curse. It's going to erupt here for somebody.
I know. That's why I never bring up overtime.
You had to say it.
They don't like it when I do it, but every once in a while you got to. That's going to be a shot wide. Carmel once again going to work on offense. Good look there at Lincoln O'Leary. Steidl again with the 4 goals tonight, leading the way for Carmel.
It's a good adjacent slide, bumps the guy off his line, takes a low percentage shot.
Trying to find room to maneuver here. Nothing picked up there by Latvies. Here comes Culver now.
They do have numbers right now. Let's see if they make that smart decision here. Both teams very efficient. They sub through the midfield line, so they don't really lose that. You're not wholesaling back and forth, but you got to be ready. It takes some time, and now if I'm Culver, time is not your friend.
Right.
You've got 6 goals. You've got 19 minutes left.
Well, and it doesn't appear to me they've changed their strategy a whole lot. Am I correct?
They're still doing that kind of that pairs kind of set. There's a lot of standing around on offense. You can't have hero ball. You need assisted goals. They scored that flurry in the second quarter because they were assisted goals because they were unselfish. One guy dodging, one guy carrying the rock is not going to help out. That's a good look, a little bit of a force.
What a missed shot that time by Sueda as he misses it. Almost throwing it away. Blake Manning will run it down. Yeah, they're taking a lot of time here in this possession as we're coming up on 6 minutes.
If you're going to do anything, kind of pin your shorties to the same side, dodge them. So Cohen Odles is on. He's an all-state short stick D midi, so I probably wouldn't dodge that guy. 27 for Carmel, Aaron Fedorcha, great player. You can probably dodge him a little bit. We're going to have a slash come here.
2 flags come down, one.
I think it's the same. I think it's the same penalty.
Same one, yeah. The other one back at the 40, but 2 officials making the same call there.
Slash, 1 minute.
So when you're ahead 10-4 like this, you can, and I'll ask you then from a standpoint, I'm a player, I might be able to take a couple of extra chances on defense. If I can maybe force a turnover, I end up with a slash. Yeah, I'm 1 minute, but I still have a 6-goal lead. Do you agree with that, or would you rather not have that happen?
It's funny as an adult we talk about this. I don't think kids are thinking about taking chances. I don't think they're thinking about anything. They just want to do whatever it takes to kind of win the game. And as much as we coach and work with these young men to get them to do the right thing, the strategy hasn't set in for them. They're just like, I got to score, and I'm on defense. I got to stop the ball. I think that's where their brain kind of stops. So as coaches, we've got to formalize that thought and see what happens.
Flag
get another
flies.
flag, so it'll be a delayed penalty.
That's going to be wide as well, so we'll see what the penalty will be.
Another slash coming on, I think it was like Cohen Odle again.
Yeah, number 22.
Yeah.
So Odle will head to the penalty box, so now 2 in there.
So big momentum motion, right? So if Culver can score 6-on-4, great. If Carmel stops them 6-on-4,
got a problem?
That's momentum staying with White. That's momentum staying with White, and that'll juice the team up. You'll see White jump up and down if they kill, both of these penalties. We won't be even till at least 4:02.
Boy, another hard shot there by Scotto.
Will Bates is a good goalie. I don't think outside shots are going to be the answer. You need to kind of figure out, how do we get something inside? How do we get an assisted goal to make this guy move? Cross the ball, right?
Boy, that one hit the pipe.
So now they still got about another 40 seconds of an advantage here.
If Carmel gets one back here. Turning the score.
50.
That's going to be Mulligan. Yep. They get on the board at 4:30. It took them a little while, but they're on the board. It's now 10-5.
Keith Allen's a great coach. He's over there at Carmel. Tell the boys, like, hey, we were talking about risks earlier, right?
Yeah.
And boys are like, see ball, stop ball, see ball, score ball. Just kind of calm down. Right? You don't need those big checks. You don't need that. You need smart plays. You don't need aggressive plays. Alex Hall getting a face-off win there. That's big, right? And I think for Culver to be in this, they need 5 to win some face-offs.
Well, they have a chance now to cut that deficit. They trail it by 5. Well, perhaps their formula of staying with the game plan.
Hey, they know more about them than I do, so,
Well, we've seen him a couple of times, and I've just never seen him really athletically get up and down the field as much as some other teams.
Yeah, and they're patient. They're younger. Sometimes with a team loaded with freshmen and sophomores, you may be as skilled as all get out, but you still need to have some general athleticism to kind of get up and down. Not that these kids aren't athletic. I'm not saying that at all, but I think of 18-year-old you versus 14-year-old.
Right. Yeah, it's a big difference. The Greyhounds 3:20 and counting here in the third. They've had 1 goal in this quarter.
Brock Rose taking a dodge from the high wing here.
Well, the one advantage they have, coach, is that, again, when you're up by 5, you can take your time in trying to find the look you're looking for here.
Yeah, you can. And you know what I kind of realized here? We've watched a lot of Culver offense. This is probably one of the first or second possessions we've seen for the Culver defense down here.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a while.
Yep.
Long shot, nice save. Latvies. Talked about him, a nearly 60% save percentage coming in. He played very well in that overtime win against Hamilton Southeastern.
There you go. Good clear. That's a possession. Good patience.
That is Manning. And we're at 2 minutes here in just a moment, so.
Still, still some time here. I hope they can get 1 or 2 maybe before the quarter. That'll definitely get some momentum coming back their way.
Manning takes a hit, high pass. That'll be Mulliken once again. You talked about it earlier. They need some of those shots are going to be a little bit closer than things we have seen so far, though they did get the last one by Mulliken.
They clear through. It's a free double.
At the X once again. The spin there by number 9, which is Sueda. Turnover.
That's a valuable ground ball. Overthrown pass. Defense did their job to kind of get it back, and you need that. That's a championship ground ball that was just kind of left out there.
Boy, big time save right there by Latvies.
Got about a minute, right?
That is Jacob Chapman. Saw the double team coming, able to get rid of it. They'll bring it back out front. It's Manning. You can hear the fans yelling 40. Oh. Low pass, the catch, and they'll bring it back outside. Oh my, could be a big turnover right here.
I think Max turned his head and was ready to shoot before he had the ball. He was open. I think that was going to be a good look. And again, these are high school kids. They got finals and everything else going on. He didn't mean to do that. They didn't wake up this morning saying that, hey, we're going to do this today.
Coming up on 10 seconds remaining.
Nothing here. Where's number 9 at? Where's number 9 at?
Shot's going to be off the mark as Evan Coulter can't finish it here in the third. Only 1 goal scored in the third period. We head to the fourth. The final 12 minutes. Carmel leads it by 5.
Can't make it to the game? We've got your back. Just go to www.IndianaSRN.org and tune in to all of the live action, or go to our on-demand service and relive your favorite moments.
Bertner Electric Incorporated provides professional commercial electrical contractor services to Indianapolis and surrounding communities. Locally owned and operated for over 30 years, our knowledge and experience make us the perfect choice for all your commercial electrical contractor needs. Contact us today.
We encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, IndianaSRN. Hit the bell to get notifications for upcoming games and more. Watch as many games as you want, as many times as you...
Down to the final 12 minutes, and Coach, here it is. We're approaching crunch time here. You got 12 that we were talking in the first quarter. It's easy to, hey, we got plenty of time, but now you don't have plenty of time at this stage.
You don't. So now Culver's playing against, there's 6 guys on defense, 7 with the goalie. Now the clock becomes a defenseman for him, too. Carmel can be a little bit more patient. They're not going to be. They're still going to put points on the board. And so, both teams are kind of in a predicament. Now, here's a couple things we need to think about, right? If this gets into a 1 or 2 goal game, 3 goal game, an offense has to keep it in the offensive area, so that changes strategy. So there's a lot of little things that'll happen. If Carmel or Culver can get it to a 10-6, 10-7 game, it puts some constraints then on the offense and how they operate. So, you set a goal for yourself. Let's get to 10-6.
Okay.
Set a goal. Let's get to 10-7. And now, if it gets under 2 minutes, now they have to keep it in the box. So if they can close this gap, it's going to benefit them in the long, because now they have to play that settled ball that can be more aggressive. Again, Carmel's still going to score goals. They're still going to pull the trigger. Good. They need to. I'm telling my guys, hey, not the first shot, maybe the best shot.
Right.
And if we have a minute and 20-second possession and we don't get anything about it, but we get a couple quality shots, fine. I'm okay with that. So.
All right, here we go. Final 12 on the board as the face-off. It's going to be important the rest of the way as both teams battling once again, and Culver able to come up with it. By the way, your team again plays in the championship there's a big turnover. Your team plays in the championship on Saturday. I've not asked you about the game plan on Saturday other than winning. What are you guys going to have to do to win a championship?
I think, I respect Cliff Rogers and Evansville Memorial. I think that it's more about, Guerin Catholic being undefeated against Guerin Catholic. Come together. You're playing for the guys to the left and right of you. We'll find a scheme or a game plan that'll help us out. We know Memorial's got a talented face-off guy in Jake Lively. He's first team all-state for face-off. They've got a couple really solid attackmen that we have to be aware of. But this is more. It's less X's and O's, and it's more about the guys that I have playing as the guys that I have that have worked together since. Some guys have been working together since September. Some guys have been working together since January, since football came out. So. No time like the present to kind of come together.
So Carmel able to force the turnover. That'll be number 8 now for Culver. So when you talk about putting your game plan together, is that by tomorrow? Will it be on Friday? Do you try to do it as quickly as possible? Or
it'll start with going back to the game when we played originally in the season. We're gathering film, kind of getting our data points. We're not going to change it. We're not going to drop a new offense on the guys. We're not going to drop a new defense on them. Like we are.
There you go.
Yeah, that's not great. We are who we are.
Well, this isn't going to go well.
No.
John Collins Williams is one of the players involved in that for Culver. I didn't even see who scored, to be honest with you.
Brock Rose scored.
Okay.
I just hope that, pushing and shoving's fine. I don't want to see anybody throwing punches or anything crazy like that.
11-5 your score now. See how they're going to sort this out. Is there any way we can see that again, or because I'd love to see what happened afterwards that maybe got things started a little bit.
Yeah, and while we're waiting, so just game prep is going to be, we'll scout and we'll have a plan, but we are who we are, and they are who they are, and so we got our helmet ripped off, a little bit of shoving. I don't see any punches getting thrown. This will be some unnecessary, maybe some full-time penalties coming this way.
Looked like E.B. Warren there for Carmel was the one who ended up losing his helmet. He, I think, made the first shove that time.
So just watching their hand signals, I saw a 2-minute, right? Then he put his hands together like he's praying. That means there's going to be lock time. That's unsportsmanlike conduct. No, we're going to do this now. I think we should do this. It's Peyton Alley out there. He's a great official. Kenny Tamazawa is doing a great job. Oh, I enjoyed watching that. We could, make voices for
You
him.
could.
Yeah. It's not good. He's going to pull out a note card now so he gets it right. And I wonder if they're looking for who the in-home is, because sometimes if there's a penalty, you have to have an in-home who's a designated guy to hold the penalty.
Well, I'm sure that from a Culver standpoint, a little bit frustrating.
Let's stay on the officials if we can to see if we can get what's being called out here. Oh, it's taking two of them to call it in. This better be a good one.
Yeah, there you go.
Dead ball foul on red. Illegal body check, 2 minutes, full time. Unnecessary roughness, 1 minute. On white, 2-0. Unnecessary roughness, 1 minute, full time.
So they got Evan Bardwell there for Carmel.
So I think 43 is going to be in for 3 minutes. I wonder if they're going to stack these so they have to serve the unsportsmanlike first, or unnecessary roughness first, and the other one.
Yeah, that was John Collins Williams, who is wearing number 43 there for Culver.
What's this guy talking about?
This is when we need to have those guys mic'd up.
I don't know if we want the guys mic'd up.
I think we should mic up the coaches, too.
I don't know if you want that either. Just get ready on the bleep button there sometimes. That is, so the guy talking there, that was Culver's director of lacrosse and prep head coach, John Bergner, trying to get the lowdown there. And now there's a conference going on with Coach Allen, the director of lacrosse for Carmel. Maybe we just take a timeout and
sort it out.
So, anyway.
Well, the important part was that the officials got the correct flag back, too. You don't want to take home the wrong flag. All right, so I think somebody's got it all sorted out now. We have 2 players in the penalty box, 1 on each side.
So 5-on-5, since, again, Culver got the second penalty. It returns the ball back to White, so it'll be Carmel ball. And Carmel, I think, with a slight advantage on this one because they only got we'll be even for a minute, and then they'll be man up for another 2 after that. So
yeah, that'll be big.
Well, and they're both full time. So even if they score, we can have 5-on-5 for at least a minute. So there'll be some man down faces going on. But again, CMA, you're down by 6 here. You can't generate a turnover. How do you do that?
Yeah.
All right, Brock Rose is going to pull you deep into the corner. All right, I'd be tighter to my adjacents a little bit.
Yeah, otherwise they're going to run a whole lot of time on this clock.
Yep. Be slow to go on your slides here.
You know, my bigger concern about all of that, with a little bit of a delay, is that Keith's going to fall asleep, and I don't know how he's going to get home. He gets past 9:30, he is done for the rest of the night.
So, all right. So now Carmel's man up. I'd go for a goal. Right. Let's kind of put this one away here a little bit. It's a good penalty kill. 12 still has the ball. Not that White needed any more momentum going into this one here. So it's getting to the point where they're going to need a goal here every few seconds, and the longer, I think they're content with kind of banging the ball around.
Yeah.
You don't need it. It'd be nice to have it.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't need to score again, do they? Well, a little more action here. If it's not there, they go ahead and back it out. Boy, that's a good save there by Latvies on a high shot.
I didn't catch note of the time the penalty starts. I don't know how much longer he has in there.
Well, there's a lot of time off the clock here. I think we just heard about a minute and a half left. Is that what you said? Yeah, about a minute and a half remaining.
And even if they score,
whoops. There you go. Culver needed that. Quickly back the other way. They'll bounce that one, but picked quickly.
Numbers going back the other way.
Will Bates able to stop that one. Here we go. They'll bounce that one, and then the good save by Latvies the other way. Well, there's a pickup once again for Carmel, and they're going to run some more clock. They are still man up right here. We have a few moments left here in this penalty. Culver's probably happy that they're not going for the throat right here, but now we're at even strength.
Now they're even. I mean, that's a good game in clock management there. You don't really need one. Don't take anything silly.
Or throw it away.
Or that. So we got that going for us, which is nice.
Those are the kind of turnovers that drive you nuts, won't it?
Yeah, it's a simple pass. Your hands are free.
Yeah.
It's a good ride there out of 2.
Scramble for the loose ball. Who's eventually going to get it here? Hard to pick that up when everybody's coming at you like that. Culver comes up with it.
You got a timeout red.
Yeah, Culver's going to get a timeout here. 6:39 remaining. 11-5 Carmel.
Calling officials cheaters or corrupt.
Insulting referees.
Threatening officials.
Berating young umpires, learning the ropes.
Violent language in the stands.
Screaming at a referee in the parking lot. It's not a game.
You want a piece of equipment you can trust, one that's easy to use. No matter the size of the job, you want to create a feeling worthwhile, something you can use for every job. For over 60 years, Reynolds has been a community staple, ensuring our customers powerful implements and top quality care and service. You need something that's in it for the long haul. Visit Reynolds Farm Equipment, your hometown John Deere dealer, today at reynoldsfarmequipment.com.
Well, you take a look at Culver as they trail it by 6 with 6:39 remaining. If they get the timeout right there, and boy, we had such a high-scoring first half. Only 2 scored in the entire second half. It was 10-4 at halftime, and each team has a goal here in the second half. Carmel just has 6:39 remaining before they make a return trip to the 2A championship coming up on Saturday night. They got some work to do here.
They do.
Pretty obvious. They're going to have to do it very quickly.
And we talked about it here. I think the advantage in this game was Carmel's defense doing their job, and then I think the other advantage was Carmel's offense going against that defense. So we'll see what happens.
They work on the attack once again. Carmel very good defensively in this possession. It hasn't been a very long one, not like what we saw Culver moments ago. They got to make a move pretty quick. Mulliken to his left, dodging back to his right. Good look here at Stand Fast. There's Tommy.
There you go. Push the backside.
Nice shot. A little bit high, though.
That's a great idea there. So on that first dodge, they drove it to X, and they came back up the same side, so the defense doesn't have a shift. Second dodge, they drove it, pushed it to X. They came out backside, and the slide hadn't recovered yet. And we want to cross the Z line, and we'll get better looks out of it.
Boy, got to be clean there as Mulliken drops it. Clock is now at 5:43. Shot, nice save. Will Bates again. There's your flag.
It'll be a push. Or a cross check. What do you say, cross check? We got cross check, 1 minute. Oh, to the head, 1 minute full time.
That'll go against 22, which is
2-2, cross check to the head, 1 minute full time. So here's a good opportunity. If you can get, treat it as 2 30-second penalties. If you got a 30-second play, run it, get a goal. You got an advantage at faceoff. I think you have a better faceoff guy, right? So you can get 2 out of this if we do it the right way. Right now, Carmel's long. Don't hold the ball. Don't let those long poles drive out on you or press you like 31's doing right now.
Yeah.
Get the ball to the other side of the field.
There's your shot and your goal. Well, there's one of them.
So now you have a man down face. You have one of the better face-off guys in the world coming out, or in the world, in the state coming out.
Wade with the goal. That's going to be, I believe, his first of the night. So there's one for Culver. Still 5:19 remaining. Well, but they had gone 12 minutes, pretty much an entire quarter without scoring.
Face-off win. Alex Hall playing great defense there. It's got to be red.
So here, Culver will head the other way.
The risky pass into traffic.
Ugh.
I don't think they're going to get a second goal out of it.
No. Culver now 9 turnovers. Maybe none bigger than that one. You know Carmel's going to run clock.
Nope.
They're going to take a timeout instead.
We talk through this here.
4:52 remaining, 11-6, Carmel.
It's still.
Hey, thanks for joining us tonight. We consider it a privilege to have you as one of our listeners and viewers. If you'd like to see more content just like tonight, just hit the donate button. Every dollar that you donate will go right back into more games right here on IndianaSRN. This means more games for you. It's IndianaSRN, where you always have a front row seat.
Looking to elevate your brand? Choose Dynamark, your local one-stop shop for all your print, signs, promo products, apparel, and mailing services. Serving Indianapolis for over 50 years. Dynamark, where strong relationships are built through exceptional service.
Well, Culver trailing it by 5. We off the air trying to think of some scenarios here that Culver may be able to tie this up in the last 4:52, and a lot of things are going to happen in order for that to materialize.
Yeah, we're just kind of banging around some ideas here. 5 goals, 5 minutes, not unreasonable. We've seen that goals can come in quick succession.
Yes.
It's a game of runs. Hey, you get a 2-goal run, 11-8. And what if it's 11-8 and there's 3 minutes left?
Right.
That's not bad, right?
Yeah.
So where can we get hot, or where can they get hot? Well, we've talked about face-offs plenty. White has the ball deep in their territory. Do you think about pressing out more with your long pulls, right, to make those passes a little bit tougher and tighter to do? On your offense, you don't have time to do kind of this time off the clock, playing like you got a Rolex on your wrist, right? You gotta, they're starting a lot of guys off now. See how tight they're playing everybody?
Yeah.
So
Steidel there for Carmel.
They doubled the ball right away. So
Steidel able to get away from him though.
I bet you he's gonna shoot.
Think? Well, he missed, but you're right on the shot.
It's a possession shot, right? So White was close to the ball where it went out of bounds. They pick it up. Right, are you going to lock off again? Locking off is going to wear your defense out.
Steidel has been hot tonight, as we mentioned. They'd probably love to get it back in his hands one more time. But they're going to run a lot of time here, too. You mentioned those long sticks out front, too.
So another possession shot. So when they play this tight of a defense, it's tougher to slide, right? So now you're going to end up with more one-on-ones with a goalie. And so you can't get beat. You can't stick chase. You got to keep your feet moving. That should have been a flag, but that's fine. Guess it's a brush. He didn't mean to do that.
Another shot wide left.
So now we're getting critical.
Yeah.
I think a goal might seal it.
Yeah, well, nonetheless, you said a little bit ago, I mean, time coming off. There is Stila once again.
There's no backup.
Yeah,
there's no backup by White. The goalie was the closest.
Yep.
All right, that's, a little bit of awareness there. All right, so you got to have a goal in 30 seconds here to give yourself some sort of a chance.
All right, so got to look at the clock, got to get it at about 3 minutes.
And hope that your faceoff guy is ready to go.
Yep. You see the clock counting down. This is down to 3:15. I don't see the formula really working out here, do you?
You're just not moving the ball fast enough, right? So, again, 7 carried the ball all the way across. 1 allowed to track that the entire time, right? Bang the ball around. Keep it hot. Make the goalie have to readjust, change his stance, find the ball. You're not going to win this game with hero ball against this defense.
Well, there's your 3 minutes. It is passed. Pass to the inside, and the shot went a little bit high, but there's Bates.
There's no backup.
Nope.
There's no
Same
backup.
as down here.
All right. So does Culver have a 10-man ride? All right, how do you get to generate this? And they don't because their goalie's still in.
Yep.
Oh, now they do.
Here he comes.
There he goes.
So now Carmel, 2:42 remaining. And all that Culver can do here is chase and try to force a turnover, and they do.
Did.
And again, the clock is not in their favor. Neither is the score. You got to get 5 and do it very, very quickly.
That's off White. I think they kicked it out. Goalie's out.
Timeout, Culver. They ended up picking up the loose ball. I have a player down as well. As quickly getting up will be Tommy Scotto. We'll take a timeout. 2:14 remaining, 11-6 Carmel.
Thinking about what to do after high school? Consider a career with Boilermakers Local 374. As a Boilermaker apprentice, you'll earn while you learn. We offer excellent wages and benefits, and as part of our no-cost hands-on apprenticeship program, you'll learn from the best in state-of-the-art training centers and on the job. Become a union Boilermaker and get on your way to a great career. Find out more, visit www.local374.org or call 219-845-1000.
We encourage you to follow us on Twitter at IndianaSRN. Find upcoming games, video highlights, and much more. Follow us now at IndianaSRN.
Back here at Hamilton Southeastern, we're down to the last 2:14 remaining, and we will have the field set for the championship games coming up on Saturday. As we mentioned, our coverage will begin at 1 o'clock with the club game, then the 1A game, and then the 2A contest, and we'll be finishing out another season of high school lacrosse here in IndianaSRN. So it's going to be a fun day. It'll be a long day, but it'll be a fun day. Crowning champions and recognizing a lot of excellent players that have made it this far. Not easy.
Not easy.
When do you guys begin working out, by the way, generally?
So there's some lacrosse-only athletes, and so when school starts, we'll have a lifting program kind of ready to go. We've offered summer lifting in the past, but I think with construction on campus, the weight room is going to be limited this summer, so I'm going to let boys kind of do what they want to do. Nice take there. So Labor Day, whenever we come back, we'll get started when school starts. We'll keep it light, and then there's always something to do in every season. So
yeah, there's a score.
Doesn't change anything. 11-7.
Jacob Chapman.
Now, if they get a face-off win here, 11-8, Carmel's not keeping the box. So we start early. We offer something for our kids in every sport because not every kid plays football. They don't play soccer, so we offer something for them. We balance it out we have kids that play true lacrosse, a local club team. We have kids that play Indy All-Stars, so we try to balance out their workload. There's a face-off win.
There you go.
You got to go to the gauge. So we just try to manage that workload for them. I don't want any overuse injuries or anything crazy like that. I try to give football players a couple weeks off when they come out of their season.
Nice move toward the goal, and the save again by Bates, and the high shot by Tommy Standfast.
So they're in a 10-man ride. They got a pole kind of floating at the middle here.
Boy, nice play to keep that ball in bounds here in the near side by Connor Alderman. And Carmel's going to call a timeout as well. Well, you're mentioning, again, when you start working out, you have so many different variables to work with from this standpoint, that players are playing different sports. And I'm sure that you as a coach, you encourage them to play every kind of sport they possibly can, because I think I would feel it helps everybody to play a different sport.
Yeah, I think all right, as a lacrosse coach, I think sports that benefit lacrosse is obviously football. Contact, the grit, the griminess of football, getting it in there, knowing your role, doing your job. I hear the football coaches talking about whatever they talk about, and I was like, hey, I use that phrase too. So there's a lot of similarities in football.
Right.
I think wrestling is a great sport for a lacrosse player, especially if you're a face-off guy. The conditioning you get from wrestling, the mental toughness to take, because wrestling, it's you versus you and your opponent. So I think that one's great. Basketball's great too. I think if you watch enough lacrosse offense, you'll be like, well, that looks like the Pacers out there sometimes. There's a lot of, lacrosse offense is basketball offense plus a guy in a little extra room. So those are the players that I, as a coach, try to kind of recruit and find and try to get them to come out there. Soccers are good guys. They have great energy, great athleticism, but I think the griminess and toughness of football, the mental fortitude, intestinal fortitude that comes out of wrestling, and then just kind of that ball and field awareness from basketball, I think are great guys that can play both sports and make an impact on the game.
And I would imagine you try to get him as early as you can, right?
You are correct.
Yes.
Because this is just like any other sport. If you can't throw and catch, it's tough to play. You can't play hockey if you can't skate.
Yep.
You can't play basketball if you can't make a layup or dribble or whatever. So I bet she's going to shoot. So, that's the great quantifier here, right? And sometimes you can have a less athletic team beat a team because they have better stick skills. Does it happen? Rarely, but it can happen.
By the way, after that shot by Steidel, it goes back over to Culver. Notice Jack Stewart there for Culver, a little slow getting up. He'd gotten a little banged up on that last shot by Steidel. Down to the last 47 as Carmel is going to advance. They have a 4-goal lead here with now just 40 seconds remaining. We'll have a rematch of what happened a year ago in the championship game.
See, I don't like any of this, right? The game's decided. We don't need unnecessary penalties. We don't need unsportsmanlike. We don't need guys getting ejected here. We got, whites pushing guys all over the place.
Yeah.
So right now, if a guy gets ejected, he'll miss the next game. I don't think any of that right there was an ejectable foul. What we have to be concerned about, and let's see here what we get here from our officials. 17 seconds left.
I know Don Ferrari was a little bit frustrated. He is standing off by himself.
It's a 30-second hold is what they're calling it. So all of that ends up being a 30-second hold.
Seemed like it'll be more than that. There's a lot of activity for a 30-second hold. Yeah, I'm like you. It was getting a little chippy there, and I want to see somebody also get hurt here at the end of the game. It's already been decided. 2 players out there for Carmel.
So,
boy, pass goes wide. Mulliken able to pick it up.
Get one more here.
And it looks like they will. Looked like that was Mulliken, number 50, Max Mulliken. So that makes it 11-8.
11-8. This is that score is going to look a lot closer than it was. We watched up here. We saw the same game. Final
5.3 seconds. As Carmel will win this one tonight, 11-8. Right before we finish here tonight.
Well, I'll hang out here. We can talk for a little bit afterwards, and we can kind of go over some stuff.
Well, I'm going to get your thoughts. Who you think's going to win on Saturday? Hold that for a little bit.
Yeah. They can score here. Oh, we're giving them time back?
Oh, 8 seconds.
So that's his nickname. Alex Hall here on the face here. Just keep it on the turf. Nothing silly.
And that's going to do it. Flag came down at the very end. I don't think it's going to matter at this stage. So now, as you look ahead to Saturday and you look at Carmel and Hamilton Southeastern, 7 o'clock, talk about what you look at in that game.
Everything. All right, so let's start with goalie play. I think Luke and Will Bates are very solid goalies.
Okay.
Let's go to faceoffs.
Okay.
I think faceoffs with between Alex Hall and he's slipping my name, the HSC faceoff guy. I think HSC might have a slight hedge there. And so now we're looking at kind of offense and defense. I think that the length of Carmel's defense is an opportunity, but I think if there's one team that can stand up to Carmel and all the firepower that they have, it's HSC. And don't forget, this is a neutral site, quote unquote.
Yeah.
There's a giant lion in the middle of the field. This is gonna be home court. This has happened before. That section to our left is going to be jam-packed with HSC students. This is going to be jam-packed with Carmel students, and so I'm going to lean into this a little bit. I think we're looking for a 2-versus-1 and with a 2 coming away, home field advantage. They're using their home locker room. Mm-hmm. They get to practice on this field. I think there's a slight advantage towards HSC.
Okay, well, we'll find out. Again, good luck to you and Garen coming up on Saturday as well.
Yep.
So it should be a lot of fun there, and I know we're looking forward to the call as well, and just how you're going to handle the whole day, not sleeping the night before, as we mentioned.
It'll be fine.
Interesting.
So we're grateful to IndianaSRN. Again, the club invite is at 1 o'clock between the South Bend Bears and the East Side Engineers. The 1A games are going to be at 4 o'clock, Evansville Memorial and Garen Catholic, and then the 7 o'clock game, underneath the lights, maybe. I don't know.
Could be close.
Could be Carmel and HSC. So it'll be a great weekend. We'll celebrate lacrosse here on Saturday. Bring the kids, bring the family. It'll be a great time.
It's supposed to be a beautiful day as well. Coach, thank you as always. Good to see you again.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Appreciate it as always. And again, your final score. Carmel advances. They beat Culver by a final of 11-8. We'll see you Saturday for all 3 championship games here on IndianaSRN.